Hello, this is Grandmaster Ted Gamdell. I want to tell you that the Dallas Cowboys are a perfect example of an obsession. You know, there's been a lot of reasons put forth by the Dallas Cowboys are always winning. They haven't been winning the last couple of years, but I'm going to talk about it when Jimmy Johnson came in after the Tom Landry era. And some say that Jimmy became a winner because of great talent like Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin and stuff. And some said it was because he had a great coaching staff, and some said it's because he had a great owner and he had a great people around him and stuff. And all those are true, but the big point that they're missing is that they had an attitude at the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are obsessed. The entire team is obsessed with being a winner. Jerry Jones is obsessed with being a winner. Troy Aikman was obsessed with being a winner. Michael Irvin was obsessed with being a winner. And no matter what it took to win, they were going to do the sacrifice that was necessary to win. When Barry Switzer came in, Troy Aikman actually got upset because he didn't work the team hard enough, Troy thought, for him to continue the great winning tradition. Jimmy Johnson would not let players on his team who were not obsessed with being winners. You can make a mistake when you played on a Jimmy Johnson team, like Leon Lett did, whenever he tried to recover a blocked field goal, and the Dolphins picked it up and scored points on it. But he wasn't fired because he was trying to win the game. He was doing something to make a winning attitude prevail and to make the Dallas Cowboys winners. And that's what the Cowboys are today. They are winners. Just ask Jimmy Johnson, what does he look for in a player? He looks for someone who is obsessed with being a winner, who is willing. So let's talk again about the difference between having someone that's working for you that is highly skilled, has a lot of talent, a lot of ability, but is not obsessed with doing their best job, or is not obsessed with being a winner. If they're not obsessed with winning, they're just going to show up at practice, and they're not going to put in their full effort. They're going to complain. They're going to cause trouble. They're going to cause turmoil on the team. They're going to cause trouble at work. They're going to be the people that never achieve their goals, or just barely make it and don't do anything to get by any further, to make anything happen in their life. These people are not obsessed with service. They're not obsessed with sales. They're not obsessed with success. They are not winners because they're not obsessed with becoming a winner in life or in sports. And you know, no matter how many positives or negatives are put in the way of a person who is obsessed with a project, with a sports team, with a goal, with a desire, he will overcome them all because it's an obsession with him. He's obsessed with doing whatever it takes to win. My son was a state champion wrestler, and he worked his butt off to be a state champion wrestler, and he refused to lose. He only lost 4 matches in his entire wrestling career in high school. And he worked his butt off to make sure that he would win. If he ever lost a match, he did everything that he could possibly do to overcome that while he lost, and so he would not have it happen again. He was obsessed with winning wrestling matches. And that's what you have to be if you want to be successful in your life, if you want to be successful in your business. You have to be obsessed with doing the best that you can. And the only way you're going to do the best that you can is to have an obsession about it. If you're simply relying upon feeling good to do your best, you're not going to do your best because some days you don't feel good. Some days you feel weak. Some days you feel wormy. Some days you don't have the motivation in your mind, the rah-rah-rah to get up and go. You don't need the rah-rah-rah to get up and go if you're obsessed. I don't need to read a book to tell me I love my children. I love them every day because I'm obsessed with them. You know, you can have great mental and physical ability, but you will never reach your total potential unless you're obsessed with being the very best. Tiger Woods is obsessed with being the best golfer in the history of the world, not just the best golfer on a particular day. Players and winners who are obsessed with being the absolute best in the history are the type of players that you want to have on your team and the type of people that you want to have working for you, and they can get that obsession by developing it, by working in their mind to understand that why they're here is to be part of a team that is obsessed with service, that is obsessed with sales, that is obsessed with success. You can be obsessed in a sports game, and you can be knocked around and beat up and punched and knocked in the corner, and you know, I'm talking about karate fights I've been in and street fights I've been in, and still overcome and win because I'm obsessed with not getting defeated. I'm obsessed with doing whatever it takes to win. And that's why the Dallas Cowboys are winners, and that's why the Dallas Mavericks used to be losers. And are pretty close to being losers again. They are not obsessed with being winners. They've never been a winner. They don't understand what it takes. They have a good coach, but they just don't have that little spark. Kobe Bryant has that spark. He's obsessed with winning another championship to show Shaq, to show the world. You know, they can do a great job of coaching and playing, But unless someone puts in the extra effort that obsession will allow them to have, they're not going to go to the next level. When you're obsessed, you'll put in 100 extra foul shots every day. You'll work 24 hours a day to assure that you do not lose again. Jimmy Johnson was so obsessed with winning, he does not even have a pet. He has a fish because he doesn't want to be distracted by anything at home. He doesn't want to pet anything at home. He wants to think about the game and about winning the game. That's what it means to be obsessed with winning. Think about it. If you want to win in your business, you must have the exact same attitude about making the appointments, making the sales, and servicing the buyers. If you want to build a winning team at your corporation, you have to stop looking for people who are positive, smart, and hyper, and start hiring people who are obsessed about your business, your product, and your company, and who are obsessed with giving the best service to every single client. You know, you can't be positive all the time, but you can be obsessed all the time, obsessed with success, obsessed to possess what you want. And that's what you have to look for when you run a business, and when you run a sports team, or when you have a company. You want to hire people who are obsessed with working for you. What's wrong with trying to stay positive and being a positive type of person all the time? Nothing. You know, but it's not necessary to be a positive person all the time to be able to do a great job, or to even be able to do a good job. You know, just try to stay positive all the time is impossible, because you've already learned that positive attracts negative. So sooner or later you will not be positive. You'll become less and less positive, unless you, of course, recharge your batteries every day, and depending upon your charger, you might have to say positive statements once a day, twice a week, once every few hours, once every few minutes. But the problem with trying to stay positive all the time is relying upon feelings about whatever you're trying to do, instead of relying upon your obsession to make you do it. If you can't do a great job when you're slightly negative or completely negative, you probably can't do a great job when you're slightly positive or even completely positive. You can't let feelings be the determining factor in whether or not you're going to be a success in your job, your work, or your sport. The same thing applies to a positive person. Do you know anybody who's up all the time, who says positive things all the time, who always compliments you about being positive, and that's great, and this is great, and that's wonderful, and this is great? But most people just can't do that for the reasons we've already outlined and we stated before. And more importantly, it has nothing to do with the actual work that's being done. Unless you rely upon only doing your best when you feel great, then that's the reason that you have to stay positive. But you have to do your best when you don't feel great to do a great job. The fact that I say positive things and look positive has nothing to do with how I actually perform my task at work. And more importantly, it has nothing actually to do with the actual task itself. Either the task, your job, your goal is an obsession, or it is not. If it is not an obsession, regardless of whether you approach it from a positive or negative point of view, you will not give it your best and keep at it until you get it no matter what. If your goal is an obsession, you are much more likely to act as a positive person. And in that, you will probably tell everyone that you are going to do it no matter what the cost, no matter what the time, no matter what the effort. If your goal is an obsession, you can still do it even with a negative attitude, which is something you're probably going to have about half the time. When your goal is physical, like winning the gold medal, you might be very positive about winning the gold medal, and you might love to skate, but sooner or later, getting up at 5 a.m. and working 5 hours a day becomes a rather negative experience. And the only way that you will do what's necessary to win the gold medal is if you are working with an obsession to win the gold medal, not working with a positive attitude. What really matters most in the real world is what kind of work you actually do, not the attitude you have while you're doing it. Yes, we'd all rather work with a positive type of person rather than a negative type of person. But we would not care at all if we were with an obsessive type of person. If you are working with an obsession, the positive and negative people around you don't even get noticed unless they are trying to stop you from achieving your vision, or unless they can help you to achieve your vision. That's the way it is with an obsession. That's the way it is with a dictator. And that's the way it is with major corporations. It is that way in sports. It is that way in the real world. What matters is what you do, not how you feel about doing it. It is, however, vitally important that if your vision requires other people to help you, you try to do your best. And of course, you will automatically do it if you are operating under an obsession. You have to work as a team. To only have people who are desiring to be positive around you, and a great coach or a business leader, well, they'll tell you it's very hard. You must do it with them, but also you must do it with what you have and try to instill in other people your vision and your obsession. Jimmy Johnson of the Dallas Cowboys was totally obsessed with winning. He would only use players who were obsessed with winning. And then, and only then, would the players put in the extra work and pay the extra price he demanded that they make to become actual winners. Negative players have some of the same ability that a positive player or an obsessive player could have, but they will never work as hard as the obsessive player. And so they had to go. That's why Jimmy Johnson was a winner, and it's not because of the talent he has on the team, even though he insists on getting the best talent. The players who leave the Cowboys and go to a losing franchise will suddenly find out that they are not the miraculous great players that they thought they were in their mind. They're going to find out that Jimmy Johnson's obsession with winning was one of the reasons they became winners. The great players on the Cowboys were that way in part because of the great leaders on the Cowboys, like Jimmy Johnson. You can make mistakes if you're trying to do your best to succeed. Just ask Leon Lett. Do you remember Leon Lett? He fumbled the ball, he tried to pick up a kickoff that was blocked, a field goal that was blocked, and he fumbled the ball and was not fired, but yet Mr. Richards was cut before the playoffs because he was not trying to do something that would help the team to win. It's only in the wishful dreams that everyone walks around singing, joyful at work, and doing their best job day in and day out and staying happy all day long. No way. It's actually true in the real world too, in the real world of children. And it is true because children have one definite obsession: to have fun, to play, to laugh, to enjoy life. They only get upset when you try to take away their obsession with things that bring them joy, like TV, candy, naps, playing. But let me hasten to ask you, if the child can make their joy their obsession, so can you. If a child is happy all the time, so can you be happy all the time, by making happiness your obsession. You know, you don't just have to have an obsession with being a billionaire. You can have an obsession with being a smile-heir, someone who makes people happy, someone who brings joy to the world. And that is a great obsession to have, an obsession to serve your fellow man. So what's the real mental secret of success? You know, everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to enjoy their life. Everybody wants to provide for their family. Everybody wants the best, but not everybody gets the best. Millions of people live their life in poverty or near poverty, while only a few people enjoy true wealth and success, and even happiness. So what's the true secret of success? What's the secret that enables one person to prosper in the exact same location and another person to perish? Is it your sex? Is it your age? Is it your education? Is it your environment? Is it your parents? Is it your race? Is it your intelligence? Is it your physical appearance? No. None of these things have ever been proven to be necessary for success. People have prospered who came from the ghetto, as well as people who came from prep schools.